Hey guys, this is Owens for Team Soulforge. This is what I ran in Cardiff for the springfest in Premium. Gear Chronicle, ZTB, otherwise known as Heritage Turbo. So obviously the starter is Chrono Dran Z, two simple skills. The first one is when a grade 2 or greater is ridden, I combine them, check top 5, and add a grade 1 or a grade 3. It's easy enough, no really boring stuff about that. And when it's bound, I can, for GB1, I can ditch card, add it back to hand. To be honest, I don't really use that skill. I just keep him there to kind of like fuel other kind of like high numbers of bound cards. So next on to grade 3s. The obvious, Z. And when you stride over him, you can Soul Blast 1, Time Leap 1 unit. He's always started with like the best. He's the best one to go for, but I do have other options. But I'm basically searching for Z to kind of like keep everything just rolling on. The other options are 1G, Ox, and Snake. G is basically during my turn, like it gains 5,000 for all Zodiac Time Beasts, I think. No. For every 2 face-up cards in the G zone, it gets 5, and ZTBs get 1. And when I stride over it, I can actually time leap a unit. Ox is just massive numbers. It gains 1,000 for every face-up in the G zone, and for a counter blast, it does exactly the same skill. And Snake, Quattro is there for basically gain high power, and if it's brought out of the deck, and if I've got nothing face up on my damage zone, I can counter charge 1, which can continue my plays. Next on to grade 2s, we have Full Metal Party. A brilliant brilliant grade 2 because it's 10,000 power. Especially when you're actually going in for the first time, just to get a little pressure onto your opponent. If you haven't got anything bound, it can't attack, which is kind of nulls because Z will always be there. And for its GB1 skill is just for a counter blast. I can bind itself and bring out a grade 3 and a grade 1 that's already bound into a single column. It's usually Z and either a Murray block or Z and a Murray block, which is like really high numbers.
And it has to be in that same column.
And it has to be in a single column. Next is Cruising. CB1 on GB1 gains it's constantly got the skill of having 2k, and for a CB1 I can check top 3 and add a Zodiac Time Beast. I'm usually using this to try and get into a Hamster or an Arca, and just getting the decks in and going pseudo Tsukiyomi by stacking like the rest at the bottom of the deck. And the next is Unicorn. I've gone through a few variants of this, like trying out Caliban and Nabu, but I found Unicorn was actually the better choice because it's been a ZTB and like it's got the same initial skill of Cruising, where it gains 2k on GB1, and for a counter blast I can check the top cards of how many ZTBs I actually have on board, which is usually 4, 5 or 6, and I can call a ZTB from them like onto the board. It's usually my second attack when I'm actually going through the board, because it will bring out something to go over a Cruising that I've gone on to. Next on to the grade 1s now. Draco Kid, Stride Fodder, searches for a Zodiac Time Beast. You will always be going for Z if you've got a grade 3 when you just reveal a grade 3, grab a Z and just either ditch it if you've already got Z or whatever you revealed if you haven't.
It deck filters on your first turn as well.
Deck thins really well. Arca, it's grade 1 PG, it's a ZTB, it can be searched by pretty much everything in the deck. Anything it does, and when you've got 2 in the drop, you can bind 1 and a ZTB trigger to add it back to your hand. It saved me so many times. Just by having like just either a sheep or a hog in the drop zone. Next one I've mentioned before, Merry Block. This gains extreme amount of numbers. Just for GB1, when it boosts, it gains 2k for every other ZTB on the board, which means it can get up to 17 just by itself. And when you're stacking triggers onto a front row unit, it can make that column get really big numbers, puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. And finally, Transit. This is like for when you've got a Chrono Van that's grade 4. When it boosts, you basically just after the attack, regardless if it hits or not, you just bung it into the soul, draw a card, filters through your deck, really solid. And finally for the zeros, the main deck, for Hamster, it's basically one of the cards I'm digging through to get into, kind of like helping me to get into Heritage as fast as possible. And when it's used for a G guard, I can like bind 2 of them to just either counter charge or soul charge, and it's really solid. Sheep, GB1 when called from hand, and only when called from hand, which I keep being reminded by my teammates. You can actually activate the skill of like putting it into the soul and returning when a rear guard attacks, you put it into the soul, put 1 rear guard to the bottom of the deck and restand it. Basically flow ball for ZTBs.
Also, if someone uses Heritage, you can't use it on the second turn.
Yeah, I know.
Looking at you.
Hey, I made sure I know what I did, man. I know what I did.
You cheated.
I did not cheat. I threw it down.
Doesn't matter. You lost the game anyway.
Doesn't matter. I lost that game. I really hate. You'll find out in the report.
If you haven't watched the other report,
if you haven't watched the report, you'll know what we mean. Yeah, I mean I did consider running it at 3 with Gear Cat, like which is something that's like, it's a good skill, but it really didn't really work for this, so I just stick with the 4.
Only good time loop.
And on to the crits. 4 from the latest set, Premium Collection. As all of them do, for a GB1, when your Vanguard attacks, bring it into your soul, draw a card, and your Vanguard gets 10,000 power. Really simple. Unfortunately, it's not a ZTB, so it's unsearchable, but it's a decent card, and it's 10k. It's a 10k crit, which is really helpful with the new guards that have come out. 2 ring, just for that 10k crit, and a personal really good card to have in is Ball Hog, 2 hog. It's actually helped me more times than I can think of, because I'll just kind of like go drive check into it, or just draw it off something, and I'll have like I'll need to go for a massive push, and I'll use Pegasus, and then just throw down Hog, bind it, countercharge, and then I can get like 2 or 3 skills off from my rear guard. It's really good card to actually use. Next is the G Zone. First thing is Split Pegasus. It's usually your first ride to go into a resource management, a resource turn. For a CB1, you can grab one of your rear guards, put it to the bottom of the deck, and call out 2 that is 1 grade lower. This was where I'll usually, if I've got good enough grade 1s in my hand, I'll go for grade 2s. If I've got grade 2s, I'll actually go for grade. I'll more than likely go for a grade 1. Combos really well with Z, where you can just time loop your opponent's unit and then go into two of that grade. Yeah, really good first stride, and if your opponent's kind of like blocked you out of it, or you need to go for more of a pressure game, you go into Avenir, which is where this one attacks. You can CB1 and check top 5 and call and flip itself, and call ZTBs from those 5, 2 for every face up you've got in your G zone. If you haven't, also this is good for when you can't get to Heritage to your second stride. This is a good one for then, because you'll be able to more than likely call out a full board.
They've got a better GB3 skill as well.
And yeah, the GB3 skill, when it's on, while it's on board, all of the Zodiac time beasts get an extra 2,000 power.
It's actually with can game, to be fair.
Yeah, which can actually win games. Next is Gear Next. This is one of the alternate wins for the deck if you can't really get into Heritage, or you're trying to set up. If you're like going against someone that's going a slow game, you really need to add a little bit of pressure. It's obviously it's a GB2, where you can Soul Blast 1, flip a copy of itself, and then it can restand after it attacks just by putting 3
from your hand or
3 ZTBs from hand or board to the bottom of the deck, and it can restand. And it's GB4. It'll get -2 drive, but when you're on GB4, it'll actually be 2, because it's just a drive. It gives an extra drive back. It's really good, kind of like high pressure, kind of either alternate win or just going against a slow roll. Main card that this deck runs around, Heritage. It's got an unusual condition to actually activate it. It's when it actually goes back to the G zone at the end of your turn. You can unflip 4 ZTBs, skip, go into a second turn automatically. You ride this, you draw for your turn, ride this, you skip your ride phase. This strides automatically, which does activate your stride skill of your Vanguard, which will be Z, being able to kind of get rid of one of your opponent's units again, and gives you an extra turn. Usually, then on the second turn, like I've mentioned in the report, I used my skills on the first turn, which lost me a game against Gizeh. The best thing to do with this is just to go all out attacks on the first turn. Don't use any skills. Then second turn, use your skills to just put maximum damage and just rip your opponent's hand.
Did you ever use 2, by the way? Did you ever use 2?
Didn't use 2 in Cardiff, but I have had some casual games where they've been able to guard against the first, and then I've been able to set up again and go for a second.
Random note. Also, if you're like me, who done this, there was one time we had a meme game, pretty much, and I managed to have enough. Had enough. Actually had enough just to go into a second heritage right off the bat.
Yeah.
So heritage into heritage.
That was actually pretty good. Ultra Dragon. This is a solid thing. This is a solid card. If you haven't got any strike footage, you haven't got any Z's, you've got nothing in your bind zone, you've got no 3s in your bind zone, or you just want to get that extra kind of like, if your opponent, like, it's not exactly the same as Seabreeze, but it has an alternate strike condition where you can counterblast one and ditch a Gear Colossus or Zodiac Time Beast to actually ride it. So if you've got no grade 3s in hand and nothing bound, you can still stride, and it's fortunate that it's a Zodiac Time Beast, so it actually can be unflipped by heritage. And
I think you mean put face down.
Yeah.
Not unflip.
Yeah, you can just unflip it.
No, you flip it face down.
Yeah, I know you can flip it face down.
Stop saying unflip.
Well, yeah.
Wrong side.
I know. Yeah, and it actually can help you set up as well, because you can flip a card in your G zone face up, and then just look at 5 cards if you.
Top of your deck, you have 2k per one, yeah?
Yeah. Look at the top, set 5 cards from top of your deck, and just get 2 of them up, 2 and bind 2 cards from top 5 and bind them.
You could tell I didn't use that card, did you?
Yeah, I haven't really had chance to use this card, so I'm kind of like just getting myself familiar from it. Yeah, yeah, you bind 2 cards from top 5, and it gains 2,000 for each face-up card in your G-Zone, and if you have 5 bound, when you use this skill, you can actually counter-charge. It's a really solid skill, and it's an alternate way of setting up your G-Zone, setting up for heritage, more than likely setting up for your second heritage, if you really need to. Next, Seabreeze. Didn't get to use it, but it's a solid card, because if they know you're going for heritage, they'll more than likely try and grade lock you. But they'll try and grade lock you, and if they've stayed on a grade 2, I can go into Seabreeze just to kind of get my GB1 skills out. And lastly, the Progenitor. Most people have been using just other random ones, but we came to the conclusion that this is a really, really solid card. If you wanna, just for a counterblast, if by chance they break, or my opponent's gone ham on their first stride and they've got full board, I can stride into this when it's in CB1, just nuke their board, and if 3 cards were retired, I get the Soul Charge 5. Most people don't think it's good in ZTB, but we've actually kind of thought about it, and it fuels Z skill quite a lot. So I don't have to worry about kind of soul charging, keep maintaining soul, because it just gains 5 straight away. And one thing, I actually played this in a casual game and forgot about Z's skill, where I could have just soul blast after soul blasted, time lapse a unit and then put this skill.
Also, your opponent got confused in the mirror match, didn't they?
Yeah, they actually got confused.
That was hilarious.
I think it was after playing my mirror match, we kind of like compared decks, and when I broke out the progenitor, it was like, oh wow, it's like I explained why I used it. It's like, oh, that's a really good skill. I mean, I've got and he used Dusk. It was like how our G-zones were exactly the same, apart from like this one card.
I mean, the one thing is because when I'm the one that mentioned to you to put it in the first place.
Last minute decision, actually.
It was a last minute decision.
But the thing is that why I think it's good personally is just the sole factor that if you brick and you haven't got the ability to really, it's like a reset card like that one in Yu-Gi-Oh! It just resets the game state effectively.
Oh, Fiber Jar.
Yeah, it's like it effectively resets the game state because they lose everything. You had nothing to begin with anyway.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if I've got nothing and they've got like,
so you just gain an advantage.
It basically flips the tide of the game.
It kills clans that have like massive boards.
Yeah.
Really. Like there's like
Yeah.
I can throw some examples out.
And
It's easy to know.
and just to mention, Connor watched the game once where there was a Gold Paladin player, and they had 10 units in the rear guards, and neither player knew the skill properly, and they actually nuked the all 10, but it's only as many as open rear guard circles as the player has.
Yeah.
The route goes out. The only real deck that this could actually kind of be totally
Nuke more
busted
than 5 would be Pale Moon.
It's Pale Moon, yeah.
But I tell you one thing, guys, though. You have no idea how satisfying it is seeing all 10 rear guards retired. Even though it was an illegal play.
It was an illegal
satisfying
play.
as hell.
Satisfying as hell.
Especially for Ezel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck Ezel.
And on to the
Yeah.
G-Guards.
Yeah, Tim. I said it. Fuck Ezel.
Yeah, Tim.
Yeah, Tim. Okay, on to the G-Guards. Two of the season. To be honest, this is the main reason why Heritage Tower exists.
Quick question: do you need 3?
Hmm?
Do you reckon you need 3 of this?
No, you only need 2.
I said two.
I actually personally think you only need 2 because obviously you're just by ditching 2 heals you can get like both of these, or just by using another one you can like gain a massive amount of shield. Yeah, her skill is just with a Soul Blast you can it just counts the number of cards you've got bound. If you've got 1 bound it goes to 5,000, and if you've got 5 it actually gets another 15, so it actually goes really, really high. When you've got a lot of cards bound, it's actually kind of it's the one reason why Heritage Tower exists, because it's a ZTB G-Guard. Next is Uluru Eternity. Time Element Eternity Uluru. Just when GB1, CB1, unflip a G-Guard, which will usually be Ilisu, it gets 5,000 for every face-up card in the G-Zone. This can get up to really good numbers for kind of guarding really high attacks, and it's usually the way you get your second face-up G Ilisu. Last 2 Hetero rounds. It's been good. I'm using it kind of like not really very well, and the last one's for Fana. Both used for kind of situational plays. I think the best one that this is actually one of the uses for this is actually going against an Ultima, and this kind of this really helps against Dominate.
Yep, I was going to mention that, Dominate.
Yeah.
You can always use it to pretty much make your grade 1s, make a little draw player, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. I mean, these 2 really do help on just certain matches.
Yep.
By the way, pro tip: don't do an Owen and Hetero Hound, right? Hetero Hound one of my units, so then I put one of my units in front of Marin and then draw 1 card.
Yeah, that was a bad play.
That won me the game.
Really, that was a really stupid play on my part. I honestly forgot about Marin's skill. Yeah, so, yep. that is this deck profile, and I'll see you in the next one.